Right, I'm going to finish a video. I'm going to start a video and finish a video. And it's going to be about one of the best fucking games I've played all year. What's that? No, it's not. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Have you seen this clip? Yes, exactly. That's why we don't like that game. Well, I mean, the game might not be that bad. It's just, that's embarrassing. What's that? Sekiro? Sekiro? More like Sekir, no. Only joking. I do like Sekiro a fair bit, and it's definitely second in line to Game of the Year. But what's first to Game of the Year? Final Fantasy VII's so shit. Anyway, obviously, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about Death Stranding. Probably one of the best games I've played, not just this year, one of the best games I've played in a while, at least for me. I know for a lot of people it's a very controversial game, but I really do love this game. And let me tell you why. Right, so the story first. In this game, you play as the delivery man, Sam Bridges, played by Norman Reedus. I wonder how many times that's been said in every fucking Death Stranding video.
You are Sam Porter Bridges, a post-apocalyptic postman played by The Walking Dead's Norman Reedus.
And basically, you've got to deliver packages.
My name is Jeff.
Fight these weird things called BTs, boss versions of them, and a massive fucking hand. And yeah, that's the story. Alright, so now the gameplay.
What? That's the story?
Well, no, but the story is literally the best bit in the game, so I don't want to fucking spoil it.
What, really?
Well, yeah, for real. The story is the best part of the game, and should really be experienced without any spoilers, as intended. But during my time with the story, I felt loneliness, isolation, joy, and hatred. And I just fucking loved it, to be honest. In fact, I loved it so much, at 3 AM... pitch black darkness, I was so invested, I literally started crying. Yes, I am a pussy. Oh yeah, but just a heads up, if you don't like cutscenes, short or long, it'd be a shame, but I genuinely don't think you'll like this game. Especially if you aren't invested as much into the story as I was. Honestly though, you'd be missing out on a masterpiece in storytelling. Which would be a shame, but that also leads us on to a second part of this game I love, that nobody else in the world seems to like. The gameplay. Now, with the gameplay, some people have compared it...
Oh, I thought you said no spoilers.
Oh, well, what the fuck? If I was literally to give no spoilers, there wouldn't be a video. All the footage you've been watching, and will be watching for the rest of the video, is after I've beaten the story. So, no real spoilers, because I ain't doing any story shit, apart from an exception, which I'll warn you about when I get to it. Right, so where should we start? So basically, as I was saying,
Hey, fuck you, man.
people have likened this to a walking simulator. However, I think this is so far, but also so close to the truth. In a walking simulator, like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, you literally have to just push forward and let the story play itself. In Death Stranding, more in the first half, before you get your power skeleton, you push forward and it's more like, fucking hell, oh, for fuck's sake, oh, come on. I've never seen a game put so much effort into your main way of transportation. And for a lot of people, they didn't like it. And to them I say, go suck a willy. But a vital thing I failed to see anyone mention, even people that like the game, is what I said about the power skeleton, which leads us on to the equipment. In Death Stranding, due to the totally fucked world, you have to go to Bridges facilities and fabricate your equipment that you want to take on your delivery. This includes things like ladders, ropes, and PCCs, which we'll talk more about later. This not only adds depth to the countless hours you will spend traversing in Death Stranding, but also, for me at least, immersed me even more into the world, as things like a steep hill or a cliff suddenly become a fucking worrying problem. One of the most useful pieces of equipment is known as the power skeleton, which essentially not only helps you traverse the land faster, but also increases the amount of weight you can carry. This instantly helps speed up the gameplay, and as a result makes the game flow much better. As well as this, there are also vehicles like the bike and truck that can be used to either help with any cargo that Sam can't carry, or just to get somewhere faster. These vehicles are very useful in open spaces, however, when in places with lots of rocks, they become very tedious to use, almost like they weren't designed for that part of the game. The vehicle mechanics aren't great in this game, which leads to them constantly getting stuck on the smallest of rocks and breaking the flow of gameplay. In fact, in one of the later areas, there are so many rocks it becomes fucking ridiculous to even try attempt to ride a vehicle through there. Next up is the great online mechanic, which links into the PCCs that I was talking about earlier. In Death Stranding, a large part of the game is delivering packages, as most people know. But why are we doing it, you ask? Well, let me finish, you rude Essentially, all across the land are facilities run by survivors and Bridges members, as well as outposts with people in them. Bridges, I forgot to mention, is who Sam is working for in the game. No more than that though, spoilers. And as you go across the land delivering people their packages, you are also connecting them to this thing called the chiral network. This is during the game, by the way, not at the post game. And once an area is connected to the chiral network, the online mechanic is enabled in your world, and anything someone has placed in their game can start to show up on yours. This is where the PCCs come in. With the PCC, you can build a variety of things that will help your journeys in the future. These include things like generators, which power up your vehicles and power skeleton, zip lines, which you can use to traverse large areas in an extremely short amount of time, timeful shelters that cover you from the rain, and my personal favourite, the bridge, which makes getting across a large river or a big gap much more convenient. So essentially, if anyone places down one of these things that can be built with the PCC, it has a chance of showing up in your world. This is where the like system is introduced. I'm still not fully sure what the purpose of it is, but whenever I see that someone has used my bridge or ladder and then see my like counter go up in the bottom left, it does feel very rewarding knowing that something I built helped another player out. You can also place down things like signs and emotes, which also show up in other players' worlds. There is also a rank system in the game, with different areas such as how quickly you deliver packages, what types of packages you deliver, and the quality you deliver them in. Increasing your rank gives you rewards such as being able to hold your breath for longer when avoiding BTs, and being able to carry more cargo on your back. This whole system worked brilliantly, and I don't think I ever occurred any problems in my huge amount of time playing Death Stranding. And one final thing I wanted to mention was the lost cargo, which is random cargo scattered across the land. You can either deliver it or entrust it to another player. This lost cargo can be in your world, but could also be something like a player's ladder that they dropped, which can be delivered to a facility. Something I forgot to mention till now is the mechanic of the Timeful Rain. Now I'm still not 100% sure where the fuck or how the fuck the Timefall works, but essentially, after the Death Stranding occurred, Timeful Rain was introduced, and when it touches anything, it rapidly ages it. This is why everyone in the world either stays inside or wears Timefall resistant clothing. It also works perfectly into the world building, explaining why America is essentially a flat wasteland of grass, snow, and rocks. However, because there has to be a game, none of your cargo or equipment is Timefall resistant. So every time it's hit with Timefall for a longish period of time, it starts to get damaged. This effect also applies to vehicles. To counteract this, you can use container repair spray to repair your cargo, or use one of the Timefall shelters I mentioned previously. However, this doesn't repair the vehicles or equipment. One final area of the game I want to touch on is the flashbacks, where you go back and fight an important boss in the game. This is where we get spoilery, so your warning is now. Alright, cool, spoilers, okay. So basically in these areas, you are taken back to one of 3 war zones, being World War I, II, and Vietnam. This is because of some plot elements that are explained later in the game, but I still don't want to go that deeply into the story. Seriously, experience this game for yourself. These are some of the best and most intense parts of the game, in my opinion at least. And although I do love the gameplay loop outside of these areas, I think a whole lot more could have been done with these areas in particular. Who knows though, maybe I would have got bored of them and it's the perfect length already. The first of these areas is where gunplay is essentially introduced, and it works. Yeah, it works. It's not great, but it works. And when you get a headshot on someone and it goes slow-mo, I mean, come on, Donkey, that will never not be satisfying. The atmosphere of these settings are just fucking fantastic. And one of the main things I like to point out is that these areas are linear as fuck. My point being that for some reason these days, open world is added to almost every game now, because for some reason people think that will just make everything good. Bigger isn't always better. The open world in Death Stranding, I think, is essential and works really well and is beautiful. However, with one of Kojima's previous games, Metal Gear Solid 5, the open world just felt barren, and the main word that came to mind was just pointless. There was no point to it. And to see how well these linear parts work out, and how meticulously everything is crafted in these areas is fucking phenomenal. Which is why it slightly pains me that Kojima seems to want to never return to these linear types of games. Now, because I want to keep this video to the point, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. But to conclude, if you think about it, Death Stranding is a miracle game. Not like it's a miracle as in we're privileged to have it, as in the chances of this happening was so rare. I think in any other circumstance with any other person in charge, there would be no chance of this getting beyond a boardroom meeting. However, with Kojima's legend status, and the fans waiting with bated breath for his long-awaited return, I'm sure Sony just let him do whatever the fuck he wanted, and that resulted in Death Stranding. I feel like Death Stranding is a divided masterpiece, and what I mean by that is, although a lot of people didn't like a lot of things that were in Death Stranding, I don't think anybody can deny everything that was in there was intentional. This is exactly the game Kojima wanted to make with no limitations, and I think that's fucking brilliant. And hopefully going forward, we can start to see some more of these abstract and out there ideas like Death Stranding be developed past a meeting room. But although I have full faith in Kojima, as he has never, and I mean never, let me down with anything he does, I'm not entirely sure I'm as hyped for a sequel as he is. I recently went back with my dad and got him to experience PT for the first time. He felt sick and quit within 10 minutes, but then I took over and realised what a lost potential the Silent Hills project was. The whole fucking internet rejoiced and Konami shut that shit down. I literally have never seen the internet fully agree on an idea and it got fucking canned. And I'm still salty over it. I'm still salty. And although some of the aspects were taken over to Death Stranding, most obviously things like Norman Reedus and the horror aspect of the BTs, I felt that Kojima could have done so much more with it. I think Kojima really needs to explore this horror side of his games again. As in PT's teaser trailer, as well as the teaser itself, I mean fucking hell, that was some of the scariest shit I've ever seen. Like ever. It just had an atmosphere that I haven't seen recreated as well since. Anyway, rant over. Death Stranding good, Donkey's review bad, and good night.